rolling. We're live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Working Title.
I'm a human, and I'm coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruno Mars.
Yeah! Throw a head on plate for ya.
Throw a head on plate for ya.
Anything.
I throw plane.
I throw a plane for ya.
I have grenade.
I am grenade.
I have grenade.
He pulls the pin.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Yeah,
guys, this time we're going to talk about Norse mythology.
Norse mythology, which I relate in my mind most of the time to Bruno Mars.
Yeah, as you can tell.
He seems Nordic.
Yeah. Nordic as anyone in Hollywood.
I think he beat Thor's ass, dude.
Bro, Bruno Mars.
Yeah. Thor.
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
Does he?
Does he?
Does he is?
Rumor come out.
Does he? Rumor come out. Oh my god!
He's dead.
Yeah, he killed him. There's some.
Oh god!
I like watching these after.
That's a funny looking man.
That man. I'll have to show you sometime. He holds the scariest knockout I've ever seen. Uriah Hall is insane. And he hurt someone so bad, and it freaked him out that he never went 100% again. And if he did, he would have been the greatest of all time. I guarantee it. I'll show you. I mean, I know they can't see it, but I just want you to see it. Oh, shut
what does that
up.
mean with the journalist?
Oh, no, I'm not going the turbo attacks. Wait.
Excellent jabs.
Let's see it. But it is just... But he's like that for a while. He just lays. Like...
He's like, oh no. I fucking killed this guy. He's trying to swallow his own tongue.
It's like... That fucking... It was nasty, dude. Just the way that it lands, his heel smacked him in the chin.
It fucked his day up.
Ugly. But damn, did he kick hard. But I think he's pretty much done fighting.
Homeboy.
It'd be pretty scary. If I hit someone so hard, they started laying on the ground with their eyes open and they breathe, go... I'd be pretty freaked out.
Swallow their mouth hard.
I'd be like, oh shit, I'm sorry, man.
Like,
My bad.
Oh.
I go, damn, dude, this is kind of hot. And then I start kicking people harder.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer kicked people in the head.
In their brains.
Yeah, like, here, watch this. What happens if I come directly on the brain?
Oh, no! There are sea slugs that do that.
What?
There are sea slugs that, they're hermaphroditic, and so they penis fence, and they try to stab each other with their dicks, and they go for the brain. So then, because then there's like a chemical in their jizz that like makes them more, like docile.
Oh, and then they fuck it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they
stab them in the brain with their dick, and they come into the brain. And then they're more like docile, and they're more willing to go with it.
Man, I would give anything not to have heard that.
So anyways, guys.
What I wouldn't do to go back in time.
Alright, so, to start off with Norse mythology, I think that we'll just give you the origin of the Norse cosmos according to, the Old Norse folk.
According to Wikipedia.
This is not Wikipedia, thank God. Since it's here, before the dawn of time, before the world was created, there was only a big, dark, vast emptiness called Ginnungagap. Ginnungagap. Something like that.
Ginnungagap.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that word.
Ginnungagap. Ginnungagap. Ginnagad.
Gahanagahoogs.
Giggity garlic.
From this, two realms came into existence, Niflheim and Muspelheim. In the north, Niflheim formed.
I like Niffle.
Yeah. It became such a dark and cold place that there was nothing else than ice, frost, and fog. To the south of the realm of Muspelheim formed. This became the land of fire, and it became so hot that it would only consist of fire, lava, and smoke. This is the place where the fire giant Surtur lives, along with other fire demons and fire giants.
Seems like a pretty shitty place to be, honestly.
Yeah. It is said that a spring called Hervolgeimer, yeah, is where all the cold rivers are from. The name of these cold rivers is Elivagar, which means ice waves. Yeah.
Elivagar.
Each of these 11 rivers has a name, but as a whole they were referred to as Elivagar. The water from Elivagar floated down the mountains to the plains of Gungungung, where it solidified into frost and ice, which gradually formed a very dense layer, which grew in size in all directions. From Muspelheim to the south came lava and sparks into the great void. In the middle of Gungungung, the air from Niflheim and Muspelheim met. The fire melted the ice and began to drip, and the ice started to take the shape of a humanoid creature. It was a Jotun, also called a giant. Jotun.
He was Yoda.
Okay, well his name is Ymir.
Ymir?
Yeah.
Yoda.
The first giant in Norse mythology.
Baby Yoda at this point.
When Ymir fell asleep, he started to sweat, and the sweat under his arms grew into 2 more giants,
What?
one male and one female.
Were they both
And one of his legs paired with another to create a third, a son, Frugalmir, Strength Yeller.
A Strength Yeller?
Yeah.
Kind of fucking name. I want to name my kid.
They were the first in the family of frost giants, also called Jotnar. They were breastfed by the giant cow Undhumbla, who, like Ymir, was created from the melting ice in Gungungun. The giant cow Undhumbla fed herself on a block of salty ice, and while she was licking the block, something strange happened. On the first day, some human hair emerged from the block. On the second day, Humbla licked on this icy block. A head appeared. On the third day, the rest of the body came out. The man who had grown out of the salty rock was Buri, the first of the gods. Buri was a giant, big and handsome.
Long, tan, and handsome?
Yeah. He would have a son called Bor, with his wife Besla. Bor and Besla would also have 3 sons, Odin, Vili, and Vi. Odin and his 2 brothers were bothered by the fact that the giants outnumbered the Aesir, which is the term for Asgardian gods. The giants were constantly conceiving new giants. The only solution they could see was to kill Ymir.
Yeah.
And the 3 brothers waited until Ymir was asleep before they assaulted him. And then here's a pictured Odin and his brothers jumping the shit out of Ymir.
Kind of rude, honestly.
It is fucked up.
I mean, those giants are just kind of chilling, repopulating. They're just populating. I don't really know what you want from them.
A horrifying battle began, and by using all their strength, they managed to kill Ymir. The blood spouted from out with furious force in every direction from Ymir's body, and almost all of the giants drowned in a huge flood of blood.
What the fuck?
Only 2 giants survived, Bergelmir and his wife.
Bergelmir.
The couple fled and found a safe place in the land of mist, and saved their lives. All future giants are descended from this couple.
Okay. The very, very creative way of looking at things. It's a lot more fun than the Bible.
The 3 brothers dragged Ymir's lifeless body toward the center of the gap. This is the place where they created the world from the remains of Ymir. The blood became the oceans, rivers, and lakes. The flesh became the land. The bones became the mountains. The teeth were made into rocks. The hair became grass and trees. The eyelashes became Midgard.
Okay.
They threw the brain up in the air, and it became the clouds.
And the brain of the sky.
And the skull became the sky. Ymir's skull would be the lid that covered the new world. The brothers grabbed some sparks shooting out from Muspelheim. They threw the sparks toward the inside of the skull. These sparks gleamed at night, and is what we call the stars. On the plains of Idavol, they built Asgard, which would be a home for the gods. Far away from Asgard, a place called Jotunheim, where the giants were allowed to live. And then it goes on to dwarves and stuff, the sun and the moon, but that is the long and short of it.
Thinking about how
I'll tell you about how humans were made after you talk.
Like, when you think about all the different religions, this one's so creative. Like, just the way that everything is told, it's so fucking out there. I mean, all of them are weird. But this one's like, giant cow, giants, then not giants, and they were mad because there are giants.
Yeah,
so they destroy,
a dude just comes out of the ice.
So they destroy a giant, and they turn him into the world.
Yeah.
They throw his brain in the air.
That's just, the clouds.
That's a weird creation story. I mean, it's fun. It's very entertaining. I love to think about it, but also makes Christianity seem real tame, which is impressive. It makes me wonder, like, well, some people thought this should happen. I can understand why reasonable people were like, oh, wait, well.
No, there was just a dude who was just like, every day he did a little bit, and then he was like, you know what, this is the world, I guess.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's very, very fun. Mm-hmm. But less in a religious way for me and more in a story way, but I still enjoy it.
One day, Odin and his two brothers, Vili and V, walked on the beach, where they found 2 logs. One was from an ash tree, and the other one was from an elm tree. Odin gave the logs spirit and life. V gave them movement, mind, and intelligence. And Vili gave them shape, speech, feelings, and the 5 senses. And the first 2 humans had been created.
Wow!
The first man was given the name Ask, and the first woman was given the name Embla.
Ask and Embla.
Yeah. This is a very familiar sounding pair of names.
Yeah, Ask and Embla.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, it's the homies.
Yeah.
Ask and Embla. I'm gonna have kids one
day
and name them Ask.
Thing that seems to have been lifted from that Christianity seems to have lifted from another thing. But, so, I know a few stories off the top of my head that are pretty fucking crazy that involve Norse mythology. I'll do my best to tell them, but there's one I'm gonna have to look up.
Okay.
I'll save that one for last. So, like, most of the important players, right? Like,
yeah.
Odin. So I should say in Norse myth, as opposed to, like, in the comics and in the movies, Loki is just kind of like Odin's buddy, as opposed to his son.
So Loki's just a guy.
Yeah, Loki's just a guy who hangs out in Asgard.
Okay.
He is a frost giant, but only. He's a frost. So in Norse mythology, giants come in all shapes and sizes.
Okay.
Just because they are of the race giant doesn't necessarily mean that they are huge. So Loki is like normal sized, but there are other Jotuns who are huge.
Okay, so he's a small giant.
Yeah.
Little giant.
Mm-hmm.
Little ice giant.
So, and then you have his wife Freya.
Yeah.
Who is from another
Freya's
pantheon
day,
of gods. Huh?
It's not Freya's day.
No, it's not
even close to Freya's day.
It's Monday.
Yeah. It's not close to Freya's day.
Fucking moon.
Yeah, fuck the moon.
Fuck you, the moon.
Yeah, fuck the moon.
Fuck the moon.
Get rid of the fucking moon. Who turned off the sun?
But anyways,
why is it gray now?
Odin's wife's name is Freya, and Freya is from another pantheon of gods called the Vanir, and they're from a realm called Vanaheim.
Okay, I like.
And they're all like they're all about like natural magic and stuff.
It's all real Heimey.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's just like the Old Norse word for world.
Yeah, I like the Heim. Like L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Our favorite Asian friend. L'chaim. But also, I'm officially banning Sebastian from a podcast.
Yeah, so this is the second time he had a no-call, no-show. We're going to have to fire him.
Yeah, we're going to have to let him go. And Working Title Industries would like you to know that...
We will be sending a subpoena your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lawyer up, bud.
Yeah, lawyer up, bud.
I don't care if your dad does magic. He's good job. Good luck sorcering yourself out of this, big boy.
Yeah, magic does nothing for you in prison.
What does magic have on the law? Nothing.
Nothing. Your dad can't play your bass out of this one. Fred Durst won't be there for you this time.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Yeah. So if Sebastian's on the podcast, just know that it was more than likely a plea deal. We settled it in court.
Yeah.
And decided that we'd have him on. So that'll explain if you hear him later.
Yeah. So, we'll start out.
Back to Heims.
Mm-hmm.
Freya.
So, yeah, Freya is from Vanaheim, and she has a brother named Freyr.
Yeah, Freyr.
Yeah. And
Freyr.
He's pretty cool.
He's neat.
I'm not sure if any of the stories I'm going to be telling today involve him. But then, some other important figures, you have Heimdall, who watches over the 9 realms, and such. And then you have Balder, who is Odin's son, who isn't Thor.
Yeah, the other one.
Balder is kind of loved by everyone. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's Balder.
Mm-hmm.
Balder just kind of chills out.
It's actually thought that the word brave comes from Balder. Or bold.
Balravder. Bravalder.
It's okay.
Brav.
Don't hurt yourself.
Brav.
Brav.
Brold.
Broly?
Bro. Is that where bro comes from?
I don't know.
The word bro?
Probably not.
Comes from the guy that isn't Thor?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Bolivar or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Bolivar! His name was Balder. So, anyways. There was, these guardians were eventually So, Asgard, as cool as it is, it doesn't have a wall protecting it. So then they put out a bulletin. It's alright guys, someone can build us a wall. That'll be great.
Yeah, I give you permission.
And so one day
to build me a wall.
This Jotun shows up. That dude did an exorcist thing.
He just came back to life.
Holy shit. But one day a Jotun shows up and he's like, I can build you a wall, but you have to give me Freya's hand in marriage.
He's like, okay.
And Odin's like, sure, done deal.
Yeah.
And Freya's like, excuse me.
Have her. You can have her.
And Odin's like, don't worry, I'll have Thor and Loki fuck around with them. He'll never get it done. So actually they first off they give him a crazy deadline. So he starts building it in spring, and he's like, well, you have until fall to do it. And the guy's like, done. So him and his horse, they go, and a month in, he's already a quarter of the way done, and they're like, fuck.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have to marry this guy.
Yeah,
he's really good.
And she's like, no way. So she sends some of the gods to go and mess with him. They
just beat the fuck out of him.
No, they don't jump him. They don't jump him, thank God.
They push his wall over.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, they tear him apart, and he becomes the underground world where the mole people are.
No, they tear him apart, and he becomes the wall.
They spike his brain on the ground, and that becomes the dirt. His bones become the snakes. His blood cells become ants.
I don't think they knew about blood cells.
They fuck his family.
Fuck your father.
Fuck your father.
But so they fuck with him, and nothing really seems to slow him down. Till Loki catches on. Hey, he can't do much without his horse lugging around all these stones.
Yeah, that seems pretty.
So I have
reasonable.
to distract the horse.
Distract the horse.
Don't worry, bud.
You can't kill the horse.
Don't worry, bud.
Just distract the horse.
Oh, listen, they don't want to make it obvious.
Yeah, he's like, bro, hey, horse. The horse is like, what's up?
No.
What's up, homie?
Loki transforms into a lady horse.
Oh,
and he
This is the
lures
one
away.
where he gets fucked by a horse?
This is the one where he gets fucked by a horse.
This is the story where Loki gets
So
fucked by a horse.
Loki goes and he
JTRH
distracts...
NBR.
Yep. He goes and he distracts the horse. And the giant's like, dude, you know, I can't find my horse. It's like,
where the fuck is this guy?
And they're like a week away from the deadline. He's like, I can't find my horse. I can't finish the wall without my horse. And they're like, well, that's just too bad.
Yeah,
huh?
it sucks, man.
That really sucks.
He's like, you guys seem really, you're taking this pretty well, honestly. I thought you'd be more mad.
Oh, they're like, no.
That's great.
That's
It's
cool.
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Take your time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll be
deadline's
cool.
still up. If you don't get it done, then just quit. But
So
we're on our way.
So Loki is able to lure the horse around to the point where basically, like, they're within like a day of having it for free. So, Loki lets the horse mount him, and Loki gets horse pregnant. And then Loki, I should also mention that Loki in lore, like, doesn't really have like a set shape. Like, he's kind of
a shapeshifter.
Yeah, so he's
a
like
shape-shifting ice giant, but he's normal size.
I say he, but that's only just because
the base Loki.
Yeah, that's like the frame
As
of
he's
reference.
told, he's called a boy.
Loki, no, they actually use both pronouns
They
in
do?
like the original story.
Huh.
So I only use he because that's like the more familiar terms. So anyways, Loki gets knocked up.
By a horse.
Uh-huh. And
with horse babies.
And then the dude, the horse eventually comes back, and it's late, so he finishes the wall for free. And they're like, yeah! Woo!
Yeah, baby!
And then eventually, later on, Loki comes back, and he has a little 8-legged horse, and he says, Odin, you know, you can have this. Just don't ask me any questions about, like, what went down.
Yeah, why I have a horse.
Don't ask why I'm here with an 8-legged horse, but it's yours now. And Odin's like, deal!
Yeah, fine, I'll take the horse.
So the horse has a funny, crazy name, and I can't remember what it is right now.
Can't believe my homie just gave birth to a horse.
Yeah, homie gave birth to a horse after getting dicked by one.
Ready to get fucked by a horse. You're not JTRH NBR, are you?
No, I don't think so.
Probably not. Not for
You have to ask
for the
Loki.
guy. for Loki,
Loki's quite experienced with what is just the right height.
Well, actually, he's used to being
exactly
the right height. Yeah, so he knows a lot about it. He spends a lot of his time being the right height, well, with no bucket required.
So, there's another story. Well, actually, this segues like beautifully into another one, where Odin's like, Odin somehow finds out that like Loki has been spending a lot of his time elsewhere, and so he's like, one time he like follows Loki, and he finds that he has like a wife named Angerboda,
Angerboda,
who is another giant, but not a huge one. You know,
another medium giant.
Yeah, and they have 3 kids. One of them is a serpent, another one is a wolf, and then one of them is a girl that is like half dead. Like
what the fuck?
half of her is dead, half of her is alive. And so Odin's like, hey, you know, I've been having like these crazy visions about like the end times, and I'm pretty sure it involves like at least 2 of your kids. So if it's all the same with you, I'm going to like lock them up.
He's like, yeah,
and Loki's
sure.
like, I mean, sure, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I guess you do your thing.
So the wolf's name is Fenrir, and even from the time that like they recover him to the time where they lock him up, he has grown massively in size. So he started off like whenever they picked him up, he was just like a little like slightly smaller. He was like an adolescent wolf. By the time they get him back to Asgard, he is like man-sized.
Man wolf.
Yeah, and so they lock him in different chains, but nothing can really hold him until eventually they find, like, they forge like the coolest toughest chains. Odin goes to the dwarven smiths, and he's like, "You gotta make me the best chains you got, man." And they're like, "All right." So they make chains out of like incorporeal things. Like, let me look up the ingredients for the chain.
Uranium. P.
All right. So the chains are made of the sound of a cat's footsteps,
What?
the beard of a woman, the breath of a fish, and other elements.
I guess.
The chain is
Okay.
called Glipnir. Even though it is as thin as a silken ribbon, it is stronger than any iron chain. But anyways, so while this is all, while he's breaking the chains and stuff, he's become really close with the god Tyr, who is the Norse god of war and justice. And Tyr is like, well, Fenrir is like, listen, okay, so I've been breaking out of these chains, no problemo, but just in case I can't break out of these, can you like put your hand in my mouth? So then, I know I'll be able to break out of them, but in case I don't, I'll get to bite your hand off. So then we'll be even. And Tyr's like, yeah,
That seems
okay.
pretty stupid to me. I have you in chains.
No, he's not in chains yet.
He's allowing them to chain him?
He has to. Well, listen. How else are they going to get Fenrir to stay? By this time, the wolf is huge. he is like house sized, and they're like, we have to get him to stay somehow. All the chains that we have are already broken, so we have to find a way to get him to trust us and stay still, so we can chain him down with this unbreakable chain.
Okay.
So Tyr agrees. He puts his hand in Fenrir's mouth, and Fenrir lays down.
Mm-hmm.
They put the chain over him, and Fenrir struggles, and he thrashes around, but he can't break the chain. So he's like, "I'm sorry, Tyr." Chomp. Tyr's like, "Ah, it's okay.
He's like, ouch.
It's fine."
This kind of sucks. Where'd my hand go?
And so here is where Fenrir stays until Ragnarok. But he also swears, vengeance on the gods and stuff for chaining him in place, as you do. But that's all Fenrir is about until Ragnarok. Now the second one, the Serpentine one, is the World Serpent. And by the time they get him to Midgard, he is also huge. And they're like, well, we don't really have anywhere we can put this guy.
The giant serpent. He's kind of hard to contain.
And he keeps getting bigger.
What do you chain? He's round.
They just well, we can't keep him on Asgard, so let's put him on Midgard. And they drop him in the middle of the ocean. And as Jormungandr ages and he grows, he becomes large enough to wrap around the entirety of Midgard. And then that's where he stays.
That seems like a pretty
down
good deal.
in the oceans.
Just chilling in the ocean.
Yep. And then the final kid is the girl what's half dead.
The half dead one, yeah. living dead girl?
Yeah, living dead girl.
So Rob Zombie wrote Norse mythology. It was really his idea.
One can only hope.
I'd like to give him credit for Norse mythology.
I like to give him credit for a lot of things. Unfortunately,
But I don't know
It's
I don't know if I like Norse mythology more than I like House of a Thousand Corpses.
it's pretty
This
close.
isn't as funny as Devil's Rejects is.
No.
I don't see a clown anywhere near here. Is there a clown?
Don't you like clowns? Aren't we fucking funny?
Yeah, why doesn't Thor say that?
Yeah. That's a good question.
I'd be pretty confused.
Yeah, it's like, where'd this come from?
What are you talking about?
What are you on about,
Why
buddy?
why would I like clowns? What is that? What is clowns?
But,
Boulder?
with this girl, Odin seems almost to have, a respect for her. And he's like, you seem
Like, no, I like
a
girls.
lot cooler than your siblings. So, you seem to be also quite capable. I see great things in your future, so I am going to let you have your own realm. And it's called Hell, with one L. And she is also, the realm and her, they share a name. They're both Hell.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
which is also where we
it's
get
not
the
the same
name
hell.
of the. It's also where we get the name of the Christian hell with
Yeah.
2 L's.
But it's not the same thing, is it?
No,
Like, I remember
no,
it not
it's just
being
it's
like
just
hell.
it's just a realm.
It's just a place.
Yeah, it's just a place where the dead go, what don't die in battle.
Yes, they're not like a royal kind of dead.
No,
They're just
so
dead.
there's 2 places that the dead go in Norse mythology when they die. If they die in battle, they go to Valhalla.
Yeah.
And if they die like for being sick or old age or something like that, then they go to hell.
That sounds
sounds
so
awful, but
cruel,
hell
but then you
hell
realize-
isn't too bad.
They're like,
really.
hell's just a normal
It's
resting
just,
place.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, we've turned it into a bad thing. Not we, I guess, but Christianity
Culturally,
turned it into
yeah.
a bad thing. Like, go to hell.
But Valhalla is really cool.
Valhalla's great. Hell's just okay.
Valhalla is full of the best warriors in history, and every day they fight and they kill each other, but at the end of the day they heal and they come back together, and then they drink and they feast into the night.
Sounds fun to me.
And they are recruited by the Valkyrie, who are like cool female warriors who ride on winged horses.
I love powerful bitches.
Yeah, powerful bitches, really. But the reason why Valhalla exists is come Ragnarok, they will all fight with Odin to the last breath, against all the giants and forces against against Asgard.
They all really suck. I'm not even trying to root for them. I mean, I can't. This whole thing was started because you just kill a giant for no reason. You're just like, I hate giants.
Yeah, exactly. Trust me, that's something Thor gets honestly. But here is like another little story. I can't remember if it's part of a bigger one or not, because oftentimes there will be, with these Norse myths, it'll be like something happens which leads to another thing, which leads to the main story.
Yeah.
But what I remember is, this dude challenges Thor to like a fishing contest. He's a giant. And so, Thor goes fishing with this guy, and he, like, I think it's something like he goes fishing with him, the giant catches a whale, and Thor eats it all, so he's like, listen, you gotta, like, get me new dinner. And so they go fishing again, and Thor also doesn't know how to go fishing, really, so he's just kind of casting a line out, and then he brings something up and whacks it with his hammer. And so eventually he does this, but the head of the world serpent comes out of the water, and and Thor goes to whack it, and the giant is in the boat with him, and he's like, "What are you doing? What is going on now? Don't do that!" And Thor's like, "Yeah, but I have to catch it, though."
It's like, yeah.
So he goes,
Catch it.
bonk! The world serpent kind of goes back under the water. And then he's like, "Listen, Thor, you have to stop. You know, this could lead to the end times." And Thor's like, "All right, maybe you have a point."
Yeah, I shouldn't smack everything I catch from the ocean.
So he catches something else.
He smacks it.
Yeah, presumably, and he gives it back to the guy.
He catch a whale. He smacks the fucking whale.
But one of my favorite ones is, I think it's called The Tale of Uthgard Loki, which has no relation to the normal Loki. It's just another giant name.
Okay.
Let me
Giant's
see.
just like the name Loki.
I want to see if I can find an overview of the story, because I have a pretty good idea about what it's about, but a synopsis will not hurt.
Like, yeah, I'm just still thinking of the idea of Thor fishing, and then he catches something, and he smacks it in the head with his hammer, and then it settles back to into the ocean. It just kind of falls back and sinks.
So, Thor and Loki, they go to, one of Thor's servants, they go to this, like, massive, Oh yeah, so they're traveling, and they're traveling with this big giant, this huge giant.
He's a large man.
Yeah, and no. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. So they're traveling, and they start experiencing like earthquakes, and they soon realize that it's just like a huge giant who is breathing. And then, let me see. So, no. I'm sorry. It's keeping them up at night. The quaking and the shaking.
Yeah.
And it's this giant snoring. So Thor hits it as hard as he can, twice, and it does nothing. Oh yeah, he wakes up and he's just like, oh, there must have been like an acorn or something falling on me, or if someone hit me, then they're a big bitch. And Thor's like, oh.
You fucking don't say that. That kind of hurts my feelings.
And then before the guy leaves, he's like, hey, you need to go to Uthgar. If you guys are strong, there's some pretty crazy challenges here.
Like, okay.
He leaves.
I'm Thor. That's what I
like,
do.
All right. Thor's like, I need to go to this place. I need to do these challenges, bro.
I need to win. That's kind of what he does.
So they make their way to the castle, and it's like they're really weary from the traveling. And Uthgar Loki shows up, and he's like, I am the one who runs this castle. I'm the one who runs the keep, and the only way that you guys are allowed to stay here is if you perform some feats for me. So the gang all sighs. They're like, okay, I guess we can do that. So Loki's like, I bet I can out-eat anybody here. And then Uthgar Loki is like, all right, so I'll put you against our best eater. And he pulls out a guy named Logi, Logi.
Logi.
Yeah.
I like Logi.
To consume a trencher full of meat. And Loki does his best, but Logi beats him. And then that's that.
Logi wins.
Yeah, Loki wins.
Flawless victory.
So, Uthgard Loki asks what Thor's companion can do, and he says, I can run pretty good, and I'll run against anyone you choose. And Uthgard Loki is like, alright, so I have like a little feeble giant here. He's like the slowest of us. And I'll have him compete against you. And as fast as Thor's servant runs, the giant, the feeble giant, is always faster.
Damn.
And
just giant supremacy, bro.
And they run it back a few times, but every time Thor's servant loses. And then Uthgard Loki is like pretty bored at this point. So he's like, Thor, you're a man of legend.
Yeah.
Tales are spread of your great feats. What can you do? Thor says, boy, I can drink. And so he agrees to go into a drinking contest. I believe it's with an old woman. And oh no, that's later. He arm wrestles an old woman. He goes into a drinking contest. So he's got like this mead horn, right? And he's like, all right, so we'll have you compete against just one of these other randos, one of these other random giants here, and they down the mead horn, no problem. Thor gets he takes a big gulp, and he's only able to get like a quarter of it down. And he's like, what? And so he tries again, it's just a little bit. And he can't seem to get it all the way. And so Uthgard Loki's just like, oh, that's a shame. You're a fucking loser.
Yeah, you suck.
And then he's like, I bet you can't even lift my cat. And Thor is like, you know what? I'll lift your fucking cat. So the cat comes over.
Fuck your cat, dude.
And Thor finds that no matter what, he can only lift a single paw off the ground. And he's like, listen, alright? You guys are pissing me off. I want to fight one of you guys. And then Uthgard Loki's like, alright, Grandma, take him on. Grandma comes out, and they fight, and Grandma wins.
Grandma wins, dude.
Yep, the harder Thor fights, the more difficult the fight becomes. And then Thor takes the L.
I can't believe it.
And Uthgard Loki's like, listen, bro, if you can't fight anyone else, then you're a fucking loser. So he shows the group to their rooms. And then the next morning they get dressed and they go. And Uthgard Loki leaves. Or he shows up. And he has his guys, prepare a meal for them and stuff. But before the gang leaves, Uthgard Loki, he's like, hey Thor, how do you guys think you did? Thor said, he's like, I don't think I did very well, but,
whatever.
You guys suck. Uthgard Loki, once the group has left his keep, points out that he hopes they never return to it. For if he had an inkling of what he was dealing with, he would never have allowed the group to enter in the first place. So Uthgard Loki basically reveals that Loki, he was in his eating contest against a wildfire. And so he was able to compete against, the spirit of a wildfire.
Huh.
And then, let's see. I think that the boy was racing against, the swiftness of... Yes, okay, here it is. The boy was racing against thought. Because action can never be faster than thought.
Yeah.
And then Thor, what he was drinking was actually the ocean.
He was drinking the ocean?
Yes, the cat that Thor attempted to lift was Jormungandr, the world serpent. And everyone was pissing their pants when he was able to lift just a paw off the ground.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You can get the paw?
And the old woman Thor fought was old age.
He fought old age?
And it was a fight.
It was a fight.
And so Uthgard Loki is like, if these guys ever come back to my fucking castle again, tell them no. Tell them to go away.
Go away.
These guys are freaks.
How do they think they did so fucking bad? And everyone there's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Everyone's like, play it cool.
Play cool, pretend this sucks.
Don't let them think that we're impressed. They'll stay.
Like, holy shit.
So Uthgard Loki is pissing his pants. So that's another story that I really like. Let's see, what's another good one? Let me think. Blah blah blah. There was another one I had saved up, but I can't remember what it was. That one was just one I remembered in the moment. Shit.
I'm tired. I'm a sleepy boy.
Well, that can be the last one if you want.
We could finish up an hour.
Yeah.
Finish up an hour. It's really up to you.
I'm trying to think. Let me look up a list. Maybe they'll. I remembered one I wanted to tell.
Yeah, this could be the last or one of the last.
I think you'll really like it.
So far, I'm very much enjoying these stories because it's very different, from any other belief system. The mythology behind other religions are nowhere fucking near what's going on here. It's really entertaining.
All right.
It's like one big weird D&D campaign.
So
Kill giant, make world.
I'm going to tell you the story of how Odin came to possess the mead of poetry. At the conclusion, yeah. So, for some context, whenever the Asgardian gods and the gods from Vanaheim first met, they were at each other's throats. And they fought, and they basically, it says here, they sealed their truce by spitting into a great vat. From their spittle, they formed a being whom they called Kvasir. Kvasir was the wisest human that had ever lived. None were able to present him with a question for which he didn't have a satisfying answer. He became famous and traveled throughout the world, giving counsel. Kvasir was invited to the home of two dwarves, Fjalar and Galar. Upon his arrival, the dwarves slew Kvasir and brewed mead with his blood.
Shit.
This mead contained Kvasir's ability to dispense wisdom, and was appropriately called Othravir. Othravir. Yeah, that's it. Othravir.
Othravir?
Yeah. Any who drank of it would become a poet or a scholar. When the gods questioned them about Kvasir's disappearance, Fjalar and Galar told them that Kvasir had choked on his wisdom. The two dwarves apparently delighted in murder. Soon after the accident, they took the giant Gilling out to sea and drowned him for sport.
Drowned him for sport?
The sounds of Gilling's weeping wife irritated them, so they killed her as well. This time by dropping a millstone on her head as she passed under the doorway of her house.
I can't fucking believe what I'm hearing right now.
But this last mischief got the dwarves into trouble. When Gilling's son, Suttung, learned of his father's murder, he seized the dwarves and, at low tide, carrying them out to a reef where they would soon be covered by the waves. The dwarves pleaded for their lives, and Suttung granted their request only when they agreed to give him the mead they had brewed with Kvasir's blood. Suttung hid the vats of mead in a chamber beneath the mountain Hennetbjorg, where he appointed his daughter Gunlod. Gunnlod. Gunlod, maybe? No, Gunlod.
Gunload.
To watch over them. Now Odin, chief of the gods, who was restless and unstoppable in his pursuit of wisdom, was displeased with the precious meads being hoarded beneath the mountain.
He's like, hey, give me that shit.
He bent his will towards acquiring it for himself and those he deemed worthy of its powers. Disguised as a wandering farmhand, Odin went to the farm of Suttung's brother, Baugi, where he found 9 servants mowing hay. He approached them and took out a whetstone from under his cloak and offered to sharpen their scythes. They eagerly agreed, and afterwards marveled at how well their scythes cut the hay. They all declared this was to be the finest whetstone they had ever seen, and each asked to purchase it. Odin consented to sell it, but, he warned them, you must pay a high price. He threw the stone into the air, and in their scramble to catch it, the 9 killed each other with their scythes.
That's insane.
Odin went to Baugi's door and introduced himself as Bjolkavr. Bjolverker. There we go. Worker of misfortune. That's the translation. He offered to do the work of 9 servants, who had, as he told it, so basely killed each other in a dispute in the field earlier that day. As his reward, he demanded a sip of Suttung's mead. Baugi responded he had no control of the mead, and that Suttung guarded it jealously. But if Boldverker could perform the work of 9 men, he would help the apparent farmhand to obtain his desire. At the end of the growing season, Odin had fulfilled his promise to the giant, who agreed to accompany him to Suttung to inquire about the mead. Suttung, however, angrily refused. The disgusted god...
He's like, no.
The disguised god, reminding Baugi of their bargain, convinced the giant to aid him in gaining access to Gunlod's dwelling. The two went to a part of the mountain that Baugi knew to be nearest to the underground chamber. Odin took an auger out from his cloak and handed it to Baugi for him to drill through the rock. The giant did so, and after much work announced that the hole was finished. Odin blew into the hole to verify Baugi's claim, and the rock dust blew back into his face.
What?
So he knew that his companion had lied to him.
That's not good.
The suspicious god then bade the giant to finish what he started. When Baugi proclaimed the hole had been complete for a second time, Odin once again flew into the hole. This time, the debris was blown through. Odin thanked Baugi for his help, shifted his shape into that of a snake, and crawled through the hole.
Okay.
Baugi stabbed after him with anger, but Odin made it through just in time. Once inside, he assumed the form of a charming young man and made his way to where Gunnlaug guarded the mead. He won her favor and secured her a promise from her that if he were to sleep with her for 3 nights, she would grant him 3 sips of mead. After the 3rd night, Odin went to the mead.
He's like, are you kidding me?
Which was in, yeah, he's like, easiest mead I ever
This
got.
is the best thing ever. He told me, oh no, we have to fuck so I can get the mead? Oh no. Oh, I guess I could do that.
After the 3rd night, Odin went to get the mead, which was in 3 vats, and consumed the contents of each vat in a single draught. Odin then changed his shape yet again into that of an eagle and flew off toward Asgard. With the prize in his throat. Suttung soon discovered this trickery, took on the form of another eagle, and flew off in pursuit of Odin. When the gods spied their leader approaching with Suttung close behind him, they set out several vessels at the rim of their fortress. Odin reached the abode of the fellow gods before Suttung could catch him, and the giant retreated in anguish. As Odin came to the containers, he regurgitated the mead into them. As he did so, however, a few drops fell from his beak to Midgard, the world of humankind below. These drops are said to be the sources and abilities of all bad and mediocre poets and scholars. Well, you know, that's a little bit of a tweaking from the original. In the original, the drops that fall to Midgard, they come from his ass.
What? He shits the meat out?
Odin squirts some meat out his ass. I think the actual word is he like passes the mead out his ass. And that's where all the bad poets come from. They drink the butt mead.
Dude, the butt mead made them suck. That's insane. That is ridiculous. Butt mead. That was actually part of their mythology.
Yeah.
Oh. Fucking butt mead.
Norse mythology is great, bro.
It is strange.
It's so good.
It's really out there.
There's so many more stories, too, if you get the time to listen. There's a great audiobook by an author named Neil Gaiman. And he's... funny Gaiman!
Yes!
But he's like me, he's very obsessed with deities. And he has... I know he has a book about Norse mythology. I'm sure he has books on other mythologies, too.
That sounds very fun.
Yeah. So, if you get a chance, do check out that.
Of course.
Right now, it seems it's about time for us to call it a night.
Yeah, I'm a very sleepy boy.
Mm-hmm. So this one's a little bit of a shorter one, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I had a lot of fun listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to the stories and learning.
I had a lot of fun recollecting them.
It's very entertaining. Very strange.
Yeah, it's
definitely
a lot of fun.
Strange. But, I mean, it's very entertaining. Very fun. And hopefully this is enjoyed. Hopefully people watch it and,
Maybe I can talk about more mythology next time. Because I think that would be fun.
Sure. I mean, keep it going.
I could talk about Greek mythology, probably.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you, Bruno Mars, for
all
being
that
here.
you've done to us.
Grenade!
For us over the years.
Grenade!
Catch a grenade for you.
Catch grenade for you.
Throw my head on a plate for you.
I do anything for plate.
I do anything for plate.
For grenade.
For grenade.
I do anything for head.
So, you know that song, Take a look at my girlfriend.
Yeah. Lovely song.
Miranda and I like to make fun of it when we say, because there's a part where he says, I like the way she make me pancake. And so, a lot of the words
yeah,
that end the verse will just replace with pancake. Take a look at my pancake. She's the only one I got. Na, 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 na.
Not
Not much of a pancake. I never seem to get a lot. Na, 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 na.
That's a great.
So that's a good note, I think, to end this episode of Cellar. Nope.
Hey, whoa! We don't listen.
Working title.
We don't talk
Working
about
title.
that fucking shitty, obsolete garbage that I was not a part of at any point.
The muscle memory took over.
Oh man, I can't believe you even say that name. But
You have the nerve.
okay, as much as I did have fun on that podcast too, so
Yeah.
that helped me find the joy. Anyway, well, we love you and
Bye-bye.
bye bye.
Bye.